Hey guys, you made it back, and thankfully you did because I got a review for you on Dark Souls 2. Praise the sun! Dark Souls 2 is a rare breed of video game that focuses more on the gradual satisfaction you achieve through hardship, rather than the instant gratification that most popular games do nowadays. It is the hardest video game to come out in this modern era, where the market is saturated with games that play themselves, have constant autosaves and checkpoints, regenerating health, Vita chambers, X-ray vision, player guiding inner monologues.
I feel like I can think and act faster than normal when I concentrate.
And so on. This game wholly depends on you and your betterment at the game. Chances are, after playing the game, you'll feel you've leveled yourself up more than your digital character. This game requires mounds of patience and tolerance. Without those things, you'll probably get really frustrated and do something you regret. Poor Herman. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Dark Souls 2, like its predecessor, is a pure video game with its own mythological lore, combining simple themes of life and death, light and dark. It's good because it's not trying to be something it isn't. Like most games nowadays are trying much too hard to be movies, this game recognizes it's a game, and is just that.
I think games have forgotten to be games. There was a great quote from Miyazaki-san: films should stop being more like games, and games should stop being more like films, and they should both try and be more like themselves.
The mythological story in Dark Souls proves that you can have an excellent game with very little direct story. It proves that less is more.
Things are better that way.
Plunging into the story of Dark Souls, you'll find there is a deep-rooted history that is exciting to uncover, however minute the details you uncover are. Instead of a focus on narrative and creating situations to drag the story on, you're thrown into this massive world where most of the story is derived from that. The world, and its history. The developers of Dark Souls said they focus more on the experience they want to give players first, before coming up with any kind of story. But after they pin their locations and creatures, I can only assume building their mythology comes naturally after that. Development such as this is, in my opinion, the key to a successful and immersive video game. While it's not wrong to make a game that plays out like a movie, what keeps most all players coming back for more, rather than going through in a single sitting, is when a game builds on the player experience first. And if you don't know what kind of game Dark Souls is, well, let me tell you. Dark Souls is a non-traditional action RPG with online co-op and player versus player matches. It has a leveling system akin to a traditional RPG, but obtaining and maintaining your XP is the real challenge. The game's XP, or experience points, is converted into souls, and you gain souls by killing foes, yos. But in death, you'll get one opportunity to reclaim your souls. If you die again before doing so, all that work went to waste. And as you may have heard, the game isn't very kind, especially to newcomers, and it has a steep learning curve.
Something about it feels wrong. Just be careful, please.
Coming fresh into the series, you won't quite understand all the items you get and all the controls. It'll take a lot of trial and error and discovery by yourself and the handy-dandy wiki. You can completely customize your name and character.
What is your name?
Even choose from different classes. You can gain a variety of types of armor and weapons from your travels, and visit a blacksmith to upgrade them or infuse them with power! The game has the biggest and toughest bosses that brings me back time and time again to Shadow of the Colossus. It requires strategy and patience to learn the patterns in order to succeed, as well as making adjustments to your playstyle when appropriate in order to compete. And what keeps most players glued to their screens is the exploration and unpredictability of the environments and creatures you encounter. It's exciting! And Dark Souls gives you a deep feeling of accomplishment after getting through these new areas or defeating those creatures. It's a fantasy game, full of wonder, piquing your curiosity, and it's deeply rewarding when you overcome obstacles. Put that on your cover and smoke it. The music is just as good as the previous game, sounding entirely appropriate for each situation, being intense and cinematic during the battles, and somber and complacent in the hub. The soundtrack seems to get overlooked when you're in the heat of the battle, and you won't really notice just how good the music is until you listen to the original soundtrack without any distractions. No distractions, none! No, don't come in here.
What are you even doing in there?
Nothing. I'm trying to listen to music. Ah! The music fits whatever mood there is perfectly, and it adds an extra element to the immersion. The primary theme of the game has shifted from a fire and ash or death and destruction theme to a light and dark theme, and this is most apparent in the reworked lighting effects, and they look beautiful. Praise the sun! The differences between darkness and light are very contrasted in an artistic way. They added a new game mechanic where you can light a torch and carry it around for a limited amount of time, which is more so superficial, but damn shadow effects, they be off the wall. Literally, off the wall. As I hear, the torch was going to serve a more practical purpose, as most of the game was going to be pitch black. But due to feedback from the beta, they brightened up the areas, almost killing their entire new mechanic they talked up and seemed so proud of. Granted, there are some areas that it's useful to have, but other than that, you really don't need it. As far as the graphics are concerned, that also took a drastic change from the beta as well. Much of the pre-release material show the game as looking next gen. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good. Not only was it darker, but it had much better lighting effects. Better aliasing, more contrast, and filters. Even the textures are more detailed with more geometry. I'd say the graphics in the final product are about the same as the previous game, besides the slightly better lighting system. It's just disappointing seeing the Dark Souls that could have been. But there is still hope that the PC version that comes in April will look this good. Despite the slight graphical disappointment, the most notable and commendable part of Dark Souls is the artistic design of the graphics and the monsters and levels, which still look very, very good. Dark Souls' development process is a combined effort of talented designers, with a lot of freedom in the creative process. You'll read many messages throughout the game that say gorgeous view for a reason. The designers know what they're talking about. The game is beautiful. There is a wide variety of monsters and creatures invented by people with some serious imagination, all shocking and interesting to discover. I'd also like to mention, if there were awards for best opening cinematic, that game would win it by far. That opening cinematic, it had me, just that Asian lady's voice alone.
You will lose everything.
It had me oozing with awesome sauce out of every orifice, like the tip of a Preparation H applicator. That one was pretty gross, but you know what I mean. While half of the experience is a combination of all these elements I previously discussed, the other half I would attribute to the loose connection to other players struggling through the game online. This system was also present in Demon's Souls, which is technically the first game in a trilogy. You can see phantoms of other players running around and interacting with their version of their own world. It's pretty cool, at first definitely, but you get used to it. You can also examine blood pools in the ground to see how they died, which can help you find traps. Areas with a lot of blood pools are certainly suspicious. Oh man! Oh man! Did you not see that coming, man? You should have seen that. You should have seen the look on your face. You can also read messages left by other players to get assistance and rate them for a small health boost in their world if they were helpful or funny. Praise the sun but not here is a really good one. I think that's my personal fave. Praise the sun! You can also join someone else's world and help them via co-op. Players can also invade your world at any time, regardless of what you're doing, and make you all mad and sad, bro. The shiny red invaders have nothing to lose but their pride when you defeat them, and there's nothing more satisfying than that. Take that, Mercutio94596. Is that guy using a zip code for his username? I know where you live! 94596. Walnut Creek. Don't you think for a second you're safe in Walnut Creek, Mercutio? What most fans will have trouble getting used to is its agility system, which is now a stat that must be upgraded when it was standard in the last games. It seems as the series goes on, the developers are purposely making the controls less responsive in order to allow incorporating elements into their leveling system. It's alright, as with enough experience points you can get to be as agile as you were in the first game. Only it's a bit of a bummer for my type of build, which relies on stamina and speed, because they broke up the endurance stat into 3 different stats now, so instead of putting all my experience on 1 stat, now I have to put it on 3 in order to achieve the same results. This way they are, I'm okay, because this way they're making the game much more balanced than before, so it's understandable, but still so very frustrating. Alright, I got a good dodge! I dodged, come on! There are a few other changes that are frustrating as well. One, there's a huge delay in the start or select option menu, which makes you hit the button countless times, opening and closing the menu. I believe the autosave is lagging it up, I'm not really sure. This is bad in a game where you cannot pause and functionality and time is of the essence. Two, sometimes the character doesn't switch weapons when you want, because the game waits until after an animation for you to press the button, when in the last game, if you hit the button during an animation, the character would simply perform that task after the animation is complete. This caused me countless deaths. Three, the game can downright make you mad when you have no effing effigies left, as every death decreases your health bar down to 50%. Taking down a boss at half health will give you white knuckles and leave you cursing at the TV. I know it's not the TV's fault, but sometimes it just feels good to curse at inanimate objects. I mean, it's the safest thing to do. Otherwise, poor Herman. Oh God, I didn't know you were there. 4, and this is more disappointing than frustrating, but you can't kick around ragdolls anymore. The enemies used to in previous games like ragdoll all over the place so that you can kick them off a cliff when they're dead, so you can be ensure they're really dead. Ha! You're really dead now! To me, kicking around their dead corpses after they're done and expired, after they were given your life hell for an hour, is the most satisfying thing. And then kicking them off a cliff to ensure that they're really, really dead? I can't do that anymore. Oh well, I guess. All in all, Dark Souls 2 feels like a re-envisioning of Dark Souls 1. It's the same basic idea of a game in terms of gameplay and feel, only with a few minor adjustments and a few slight enhancements. The game world is basically like the first. You go through the tutorial level, you find the hub, a beautiful and relaxing place to gather your composure that connects all the other worlds you'll eventually explore. Then after some time and after overcoming some serious obstacles, you'll come across a great kingdom. So it's pretty much the same formula as the first game exactly. So if you like the first game, then you'll probably like this one too. If you hated the first game, then you'll hate this one as well. But if you've never played Dark Souls before, then do yourself a favor and pick this game up. But make sure you have lots of time and patience on your hands. Otherwise you'll play this game for maybe 2 hours, and you'll never play it again. And that would be a shame! Because this is probably one of the best games I have ever played. This game gets a 5 with a +5 stat bonus. I mean, God. Too much Dark Souls. A perfect score. Let's just say it gets a perfect score, okay? It's good. This is Fungo, a Fungo review on the Fungo YouTube channel. And if you like what you just saw, comment, rate, subscribe, do what you gotta do that YouTube stuff. Send me feedback, I like feedback, email me at this email address right here. So thank you, and onward to more videos.